There's new kickoff rules to start the 2024 season in the NFL. They're calling it the new dynamic kickoff rule. And a lot of people are upset about them, but guess what? They're here to stay. So we might as well learn about it. I'm going to do this quick video for you. And here in just a few minutes, I'm going to explain and break down all the rules. And then, maybe we'll go over how some of these coaches might scheme up and exploit some of these things. But we've already saw, as I have pulled up here, the reason why I wanted to do this is because in the preseason, which actually, ironically, most people hate the preseason, but this is actually a good thing for the preseason when you have a big, rule change like this. Well, it's good to work out the kinks. Probably still only need like one preseason game. We don't need three. The starters don't even play anyways, really. But that being said, these kickoff rules will help these teams learn what to do and what they can't do. And if this was week one of the NFL season, this could have cost the Chiefs big time. So what happened was, as you can see here, let's see if I can make it bigger. As you can see here, Chiefs kick off, right? Or not the Chiefs, Jaguars kick off. And that ball bounced into the back of the end zone, right? So he goes, oh, no, we're not going to take it back. But then it comes back out into play. That's a live ball. It's a live ball, ladies and gentlemen. So now I believe this is Hardman here, decides to grab the ball, be in the end zone, and then bring it back and knee it for a touchback. Now, with the new rules, that's not a touchback. Also, I don't even know with the old rules, because if you can see right there, you can clearly see his hands in play right there. So I don't know if this was actually wouldn't have been a safety with the old rules, but either way, he thought this was fine. He thought, look at that. He thought, oh, here we are. Oh, better get back here. I'll grab the ball. Just like when a kicker stands out of, not a kicker, but a returner. There we go. Gosh, anyways, ads. Anyways, you can see with the NFL with the Chiefs there, that ended up being a safety. So let's go into the kickoff rules. And ESPN sucks with their ads. We're going to talk about this. We have this video, nice video from the NFL officials themselves of exactly what the new rules are. So we're going to go through this real quick so we can understand it. So to address the lowest kickoff return rate in NFL history during the 2023 season, and an unacceptable injury rate. By the way, last season, the average starting line was the 25-yard line kickoffs. There was some, I think, 1,300 touchbacks or something like that. So some crazy, ridiculous number. But then there were still a lot of injuries. So the NFL, whether you agree with them or not, they wanted to address all these injuries. And so that's why they made these changes to the 2024 season. The new and that's another thing too to remember in this, to address the lowest off return rate. So the NFL does want, as much as much people say, oh, they're soft, because they're getting rid of the kickoff rule. They're changing it. I mean, yes, but they're also worried about player safety. They want guys to return it, but they don't want people flying down there at full speed, just drilling people as well. So this is kind of their happy medium of like, hey, we don't want just touchbacks because that's kind of boring and not good for our game, but we also don't want people flying down there, injuring themselves and hurting our product and hurting these teams, and obviously players getting injured. So whether you agree with that or not, that's their mindset behind this. So the new rules will keep the excitement of the kickoff returns in the game while returning the injury rate closer to the traditional scrimmage of play, as we just stated, or as I just stated there. So here's how we got this. So the kicker is going to stay at the 35-yard line. You got a kicker here. He's at the 35-yard line, just like normal. But the only thing that's different this year is he's all by himself back here. Now his teammates, the other 10 guys, go to the opponent's 40-yard line, and they all have to line up, and they all have to have 1 foot on that 40-yard line. All right. Then the return team, they get to have their guys, and they have to have their guys. They have to have 9 of their 11 players within this 5-yard zone. So they got to be 5 yards across from the I guess kickoff team. Defenders will be defenders. But they have a 5-yard zone, so they can stagger. They don't have to have their foot on the line, unlike the kicking team. The kicking team has to have their foot on the line. They don't. They just need at least 9 guys in here. They can have all 11 guys in there if they want, but there needs to be a minimum of 9 guys between the 30 and 35-yard line, and you can have 2 returners back here. Already, what I love about this is I think we're going to see some interesting strategies with returners, but I'll get into that at the end. But I think we're going to not see your traditional returners. I think you're going to see that like third string or that rotation wide receiver be a returner because of this next rule right here. So, let's see. So, play begins when the ball is either caught or hits the ground in the landing zone. The landing zone is the red zone, basically. It's the 20 to the end zone. So right there, you've as a kicker, this is why I say strategically, this is I like this because it takes more skill. You have to land it in between here. Otherwise, you get penalized, right? So if you land it in between here, you're good. You're good. So that means, either you're gonna pop the ball up super high, or even that takes away the squib kick, right? You can't really squib it anymore. You got to kick it in between this area. Or if it's returned from the end zone. So you can kick it into the end zone, they could choose to return it and there's no penalty. Now, if they choose to down it, that's different. And we're going to get into that. But just know the landing zone is the red zone, and that's where kickers need to kick it. Let's see. Any kick that bounces from the landing zone into the end zone must be returned or downed by the receiving team for a touchback, and its possession is at the 20-yard line. So that's different. Touchbacks beforehand were the 25-yard line. Now we have multiple different types of touchbacks and different penalties. But like I said, as long as you stick it into this landing zone, you're good. You will not be penalized. Even if it rolls into the end zone and ends up being a touchback, well, they're only going to get it out to the 20. And that's the best possible starting spot that they can get without actually doing a return and you get into them before the 20. So I like that. And then if a kick fails to reach the 20-yard line, let's let this play for a second. This one is interesting. So remember what I was saying? The average starting point last season was the 25-yard line. Well, now you can start at the without returning it. You can start at the 20, the 30, or the 40. So this is crazy. So if a kick fails to reach the 20-yard line, so let's say you kick it and it lands here on the 23, the receiving team takes possession of it at the 40. It's like you kicked it out of bounds. That's how much you get penalized for it. I love this because, like I said, strategically, I think this is more skillful for kickers, and it actually allows teams to come up with interesting plays of where they want to put the ball. But if they screw up, they get penalized for it. So, and we'll talk about some of the things I think we should look at betting wise here afterwards when we get to that. If the ball enters the end zone in the air, so you do not land in the landing zone, it kicks it into the end zone in the air. The receiving team can return it and down, or they can down it and take a possession at the 30. So all those guys with those strong legs that just kick it to the back of the end zone, you can't do that anymore. I mean, you can, but you're going to give them the ball at the 30. Not as bad as if you were to hit, not as bad as if you were to miss the landing zone altogether and kick it like out of bounds or something like, or prior to it and starting at the 40, but not as good as if you actually landed into like if you hit it here on the 2 and it rolls in, then they only get, and they down it, they only get it at the 20. Here, if you kick it all the way into the end zone, they get it at the 30-yard line. Huge difference in field position. Huge difference. And I hope you guys can see now the difference in starting field position and how like this is going to be, skill is definitely going to be needed, and strategy when you come to these kicks. If the ball goes out of bounds, the receiving team takes possession at the 40-yard line. So if you kick it out of bounds at any point, it's just like the old rules. It comes out to the 40. So that didn't really change. There are some other different rules here. Let's see. What are we doing? Onside kicks are permitted. They did not get rid of the onside kick, but you can only do onside kicks in the fourth quarter. No more secret halftime Super Bowl onside kicks. Now, a lot of people freaking out about this. They don't like it. Let's be honest. Onside kicks don't hardly ever work anyways. I mean, you're better off missing a PAT than you are successfully receiving executing, I guess I should say, an onside kick. So I'm not too mad about this. If you want to get mad about it, go ahead, but you're getting mad about something that's like so minute in the game that I think this change really doesn't make a big difference. So you can only onside kick in the fourth quarter. Setup and landing zones do not change. After penalties or a safety, only the spot where the ball is kicked changes. So that's interesting. That's interesting. So those are those rules. I also wanted to show you this because I thought this was interesting. You can go over to operations.nfl.com to learn about the kickoff rules. This is everything that we just talked about, so I'm not going to go over that. I want to go over this miscellaneous stuff. If conditions cause the ball to fall off the tee twice, so it's just a kicker out there by themselves. If it's windy and he can't keep the ball on the tee, then he does He is allowed to have someone come out and hold the ball for him. But then that guy, right as it's kicked, he's got to get off the field. He cannot engage with anyone. So you will have 12 players on the field for the first time, potentially, in a game. But that 12th man has to get off the field immediately. Onside kicks only in the fourth quarter. The team trailing has the opportunity to declare an onside kick to the officials. Current onside kick rules would apply if onside kick goes beyond the setup zone, untouched, kicking team penalized for it, and the return team would start the drive at the 20-yard line. So the zones still stay the same there. Penalties. For penalties, like if you get a penalty on a PAT or something like that, the setup zone and the landing zone will not change with any penalties that carry over from kickoffs. Alignment of 10 kickoff players and all receiving team players would not change. Only the spot the kick is from, which is crazy. So if you get a roughing penalty or you get a holding penalty on you and they accept the PAT or something like that, you might have your kicker. It's like after, let's say, dead ball, personal foul. So that kicker's got to go 15 yards back. That landing zone still doesn't change. So if he's all the way back, he starts at the 35, 15 yards. So if he's at his own 20, right? He's at his own 20. He's got to kick it to the other side 20. That's gonna get interesting. That's gonna get interesting, and you're gonna have to be very skilled. Now, these kickers are obviously the best in the world, but it makes these penalties, these dumb penalties that players get, even more so. What's the right word? Meaningful, right? I mean, it's gonna have a lot more consequence to it. Conversely, I mean, if you're a kicker and the defense does it, now instead of the kicker kicking from the 35, let's say it gets kicked from the 45 or from the 50, that changes things because now maybe you want to pop one up way high and give your team a chance. But remember, your team can't move until that ball comes down and is in play, either touches the ground or a player returns it. So it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see it. There's going to be people that get mad at this and that are going to freak out because it's going to cost a team, more than one team, a game or a big swing of momentum or shift the game for them. And people are going to freak out over it. Rightfully so, but I think it's going to be great for me. I know that because I'm going to have stuff to talk about. I'm going to hop on here. We're going to talk about the controversies. So it's great for me making videos and stuff like that. But then a safety kick. Let's say if a team gets a safety, the kick will be from the 20-yard line, and the kicker will have the option to use a tee or not, and he can punt it or use the tee. So that's new. Beforehand, they had to drop kick it, right? So now he could use the tee because he's going to be way back there. But the setup zone and landing zone will not change. So there you have it, folks. Those are the kickoff rules, the dynamic kickoff rules for 2024. The new rules here. I personally think one thing this is going to do, I think scoring is going to go up because I think field position is going to start. Last year, the average starting spot was the 25. I think it's going to be closer to the 30. It's going to be the average this season, which means also more chance for more scoring. But also think about this. That means less yards because they got less yards to go. So some of those player props, if you're a sports bettor out there, those player props, you might be wanting to look towards the under early on the first month of the season. Might be the sharp way to go on some of these guys. But we'll get into that in another video. This one, though, dynamic kickoff rules. Let me know what you think about them. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below of how you feel about the kickoff rules. And if you're excited for them or if you think these are dumb, let me know, and I'll see you guys on the next video.